USAL Road, USA Lumber Road, one of the premier adventure roads here on the coast, on the north coast. Unfortunately, most of the north coast is blocked off. You can't just go riding hardly anywhere off-road here in the northern coastal area of California anymore. So this is one of the few last fun adventure routes. Looks like 27 miles. We just got off of Highway 1 here. 27 miles on into Garberville. Correction, Shelter Cove. We'll go find some of the campgrounds along the way. So it looks to be in pretty good condition here. Let's see what it's got to offer. Boy, just typically steep coast range, what you can expect to see here on USAL Road. Beautiful run through the redwoods. Dirt road, some ruts, not bad, real nice. Here's the other neat thing, of course, about USAL Road is you're paralleling right along the coastline. So you get these great filtered views of the Pacific Ocean along the way. Of course, here in the summertime, you get a lot of fog banking up against here, so you're in and out of fog banks. Fog mostly below you, because you're up here on the ridge above. Great views of the ocean. It's more than 27 miles to Shelter Cove. It's more like 34 miles to Shelter Cove. And the entrance to USAL is from Highway 1 is a little obscure. Pretty much when Highway 1 starts heading inland from the coast, look for the first road off to your left that does not have a gate on it. That's going to be USAL Road. It'll say, have some signs about warning not maintained in the winter time and blah blah blah. Something about next 6 miles. That's the one you want. You can hear the ocean. Oh yeah, I can see it down there. But you can't quite see it in the fog. Pretty easy conditions. We've climbed down out of the fog bank now, and you can see clearly the ocean, USAL Creek, and here's a fantastic campground far, far away from the maddening tourists off of USAL Road. You could land the airplane right down in there. Right along the beach. One of the better private camping opportunities here on the Lost Coast. You can get in here on USAL Road. Well away from the crowds. USAL Creek. This is really neat back in here. USAL Creek. Some kind of typical conditions for USAL Road. It's just fantastic when it's dry out. Dry, hard pan with some ruts, but smooth and dry for the most part. In the redwoods. One thing you might consider is it's pretty shady in here in the redwoods here in the Coast Range, and these sunglasses are a little too dark. Something I use up in my neck of the woods, which is a big help, as you might consider, which I don't have today, is some yellow target shooting glasses. Work great for shady single track or shady trails where you gotta dodge ruts quite a bit. Some yellow target glasses would be great up here. Just a ball. About 20 miles to go to Shelter Cove. Yeah, there's still a few ruts and wet spots out here in the middle of summer. I could imagine in the winter time, well, that's why they closed the road. You wouldn't want to attack this if it was pouring down rain. That wouldn't be much fun, but it's great shape, plenty of routes around the ruts in the summertime. There's a nice and dry path right there. Our little helmet cam footage. I got enough battery left, I think. Standing up and riding. So, one other thought I had is, if you ever spent the night up here in this tan oak forest part, you're going to want a good mosquito tent. The little buggers. Here's where USAL Road takes off to the south to Highway 1, 22.5 miles to 101 that way. Needle Rock Campground, 3.5 miles down that way. Shelter Cove, 12 miles that way. Yeah, that sign there is warning you to stay on your side of the road. The road's only 1.5 lanes wide, so please stay on your side of the road. Lots of blind corners. Well, this is a special treat. Needle Point. Needle Rock, about 15 miles south of Shelter Cove. You know, I've been to Shelter Cove a bunch of times, but I've never been down here to Needle Rock. But check this out. This old ranch house right here. And there's the caretaker, and he's got a lot of cool stuff in there. You can even, there's another place over here we're going to check out that you can rent. And you can, it's about 3 miles off of the Four Corners pavement there at the beginning of USAL Road.
The barn overnight if you want to. Or,
yeah.
And then a lot of, not quite car camping, but you can drive pretty close to
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of backpacking, a lot of trail camps.
Yeah, and get right on the Lost Coast Trail here, the southern portion of the Lost Coast Trail. Goes for miles that way.
We have a herd of elk that traverses back and forth along this section.
Mm-hmm.
A good chance you see the elk
Mm-hmm.
if you're backpacking here. We have an elk survey that we're conducting to kind of monitor the population of that herd.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of wildlife activity if you're interested in that. During the winter, a lot of whales going back and forth. Actually, this summer we've had a little bit of whale activity. And then bear, cougar, bobcat, all the usual. Oh, here we have
yeah, there's another car I think coming down. So this is the end of the road right here now.
For
here
now,
at
yeah,
Needle
it used
Rock,
to be that
Needle
road
Point.
would go through to Bear Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a washout, and for the last few years there hasn't been vehicular access. You can walk down there now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Backpack down. Let's take a look inside. He's got a lot of neat stuff in here. The old ranch house. I got the telescope for watching whales. Got a couple of comfy chairs with a great view of the Pacific Ocean. All the maps and information you need. Sinkyone Wilderness Area. All about the whales and the elk. And there's one right there over the fireplace. £1,000 pounds. Huh. View out the door. Some great old historical photographs. So Bear Harbor was another one of these lumber dog holes for the lumber schooners. Dog holes, yeah. And which, man, it was a treacherous place to park your schooner just barely offshore in the crashing waves, and then long line your lumber onto the schooner. Cables and tracks, hard work. And that's just a few miles south of here. Named after a Sinkyone Indian tribe, which they pretty well wiped out right here at this spot back in the late 1800s. Huh. There's some artifacts of railroading. All kind of fun stuff you can find out here. Little skull collection. Bear. Huh, that's a bear skull. Elk. Porpoise. Sea lion. Whalebone. Deer. Jackalope. The caretaker's cabin, the old ranch house at Needle Point, Sinkyone Wilderness. What a neat spot. Welcome to the Lost Coast, Northern California. The ocean is incredibly calm today, which is very unusual around here. The fog just burned off this afternoon. When we were kids, we took a llama trip. Mom and Dad lined up a llama trip, and we spent a llama backpacking trip exploring the Lost Coast, and was a treasured memory. And the neat thing is, not much has changed around here. There it is, looking to the south. Now when you're doing the Lost Coast Trail, you gotta work with the tides, because you're walking along that black sandy beach for a good portion of it, and you get pinched off by the tide in some places. And then you find some of these creek outlets and hike up into the creek outlet and find some real nice camp spots not far from the beach, because you can see the cliffs just come right straight down to the water. There's the caretaker's cabin up there at Needle Point here. So why did they call it the Lost Coast? Some folks say it's because after the lumber industry died, the economy died here, and thus the Lost Coast. But I thought it was the Lost Coast named long before the lumber industry, just because of the remote ruggedness of this area. Freshwater spring springing up out of the mountain. Now here's the barn to the ranch house. Now you can rent it. First come, first serve. 25 bucks a night. What a view. There we go. You could definitely get in out of the weather here, because it can get cold and blowing down here on the coast. You could lay a rack right there, sleep 4 in here real easy. Great view. Watch the whales go by, especially in the wintertime. Wintertime out here is some great camping when you get the high pressure in between storms. There's a couple more campsites right there. And a little fire pit out back.